Good morning, Bucknutters. Welcome to the Bucknuts Morning Five here on Wednesday, October 15th, 2025. I am Dave Biddle. I am very happy to be joined by author Bill Connelly from ESPN. I'm a big fan of your work, Bill, and it's an honor to have you on the show. Welcome into the show, my friend.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
All right, let's start with the book. We're going to get to, you're also the inventor of SP Plus, the advanced metric for football, which I absolutely love. I love analytics in sports, and you're one of the founding fathers of analytics in football. So we're going to get to that later. But what gave you the idea? That book is called, for the fans out there, we're going to let you know how to buy it in a minute. But the new book is Forward Progress, The Definitive Future of College Football. Bill, what gave you the idea to write the book?
Yeah, I mean, I think just the change. Like this one's pretty easy to explain, I figure. The amount of things in a sport that changed far too slowly for a very long period of time. Suddenly, basically everything we've been arguing about for years all kind of changed within about a 2 or 3 year period. And so I started to realize, I like having kind of a vision for where I think the sport should go. And I started to realize that for a long time, I was just reacting. This change happens and you react to it. And then there's another court case or whatever, you react to that. And so, that's the best part about the book writing process, is forcing yourself to step back and look at how things have developed over a longer period of time. And so, there's a chapter in there about conference realignment, chapter in there about television's relationship with the sport, and about arguing about playoffs and so on and so forth. And kind of helped me to get my own perspective on things. And typically, if I can help myself, then theoretically I'm helping readers too.
Without giving too much away, because we want people to read the book, but what are some of the things you want fans to know about that's in the book?
Well, I think one of the things, I started, pretty close to the front is the conference realignment chapter. And I mean, loyalty's never been a thing in this sport at all, because there's never been any sort of overriding vision. There's never been any sort of like centralized leadership aside from the NCAA kind of threatening everybody with the TV contract for 30 years. And so everybody's always been out for themselves. And, I've written about this before, but the airplane conference, the rumored airplane conference from the late 50s. I mean, Washington tried to ditch Washington State almost 70 years ago. They just didn't quite pull it off. That was the old rumored, the Western Conference fell apart, and the major programs out there, USC and UCLA, Washington, Cal and Stanford, we're talking about joining an airplane conference, so to speak, with like Air Force as the Western Division, and then Penn State and Notre Dame and Pitt and others as the Eastern Division. Play your title game in the Rose Bowl, I think, was part of it. And so, that was a huge deal. And the Pentagon kind of dragged its feet on letting Army in. And so it ended up kind of falling apart like a lot of other ideas. But it's never, the only thing that changed recently is we've officially broke geography. And now we're in these nationwide conferences that we have now. It's possible to do it now, so we did it, but they wanted to do it a long time ago. That was a big thing.
I love hearing about the history of college football. I never knew that. They were 70 years ahead of their time, apparently. Yeah. That's very interesting. All right. How can fans buy the book?
Amazon, apparently you sell books by rigging the Amazon algorithm. So just go in there is fine. It should be in bookstores, Barnes and Nobles and whatnot, but it's certainly easy to just hop on Amazon and get it that way.
Awesome. And then, so I've covered football full-time now, college football full-time now for about 23 years. And I would say the first 18 years, there were changes. The last 5 years have been crazy, man. I mean, as you know, how would you describe the massive changes we've seen recently in college football?
Well, I think one of my favorite chapters in the book was basically called How Sports Fall from Grace. Like it basically looked at NASCAR and college basketball and boxing and a bunch of other sports and just trying to piece together a kind of a warning list, things to avoid if you want your sport to remain healthy, because there's just so much going on at once. And one of those changes, you look at other sports like NASCAR, is don't change too much at once. And we've crossed that bridge for sure. But it's still, we've kind of lucked out in that, it's really hard to screw up Saturdays. The reason we come into college football is personal enough that we still, those personal feelings don't go away. And also Sport's just great. It's a well-designed sport with a pointy ball and 18 to 22-year-old males and the inconsistency that comes with all of those things. And we haven't screwed it up. We haven't made the title race too hard to follow like NASCAR did, although we try sometimes. We're fiddling with the idea of making it impossible to follow. But that was kind of a big thing, was just that, when so much changes, it can kind of, you can lose your bearings. And we've gotten lucky that college football still looks like college football on Saturdays. So that's been a big thing. I thought that was kind of a pivotal chapter. It's pretty early on too. And certainly of the warning list I created, we've already kind of crossed a couple of those bridges, but there's still others to go, I guess.
I love advanced metrics in sports, and you're like I said, you're one of the founding fathers of it when it comes to football. You invented SP Plus, and I was thinking it was like relatively recently. It was like in 2017. Time flies, man. It was 8 years ago. I was like, yeah, that was like 4 years ago, right? Like, no,
2007 actually. 2007.
2007. Oh, geez. Oh, I thought it was 2017. I don't know what I'm thinking here. I was just looking at it. I must have blanked out. I thought I saw a 1 and not a 0 though. So 2007. So it's been 18 years. All right. So for the listeners that don't know what SP Plus is, explain what it is like they're 10 years old, if you would, please, Bill.
Well, the elevator pitch is basically, it's an opponent adjusted and tempo adjusted look at kind of the sustainable aspects of college football. Obviously, we know just inherently that you watch a game on Saturday, ball bounces in funky ways, this and that happens that is kind of lucky or random or things or something. Even big plays win games. Every coach in the country tells his team, like, big plays and turnovers and we'll win. Well, you can't just say go out and make big plays and avoid turnovers. It's not, everything's not in your control, but looking at down to down efficiency, looking at a number of different factors, I kind of slowly pieced together and tweaked through the years a version of SP Plus that that I like right now. I think it's pretty good, and it's designed to be as user friendly as possible. Where if you look at a team's rating, that's how many points above or below the average team in FBS that they are. Obviously, Ohio State's usually hovering somewhere around the 30 mark in a given year, but you can the offensive and defensive ratings are presented as point totals that are kind of presented as average totals against average teams, and hopefully people like it. It seems to be, like I said, I think it's pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, everybody loves it. I see, like people across the industry, citing your SP Plus. I do it on Bucknuts. I have for years. Okay, your general thoughts on Ohio State this season? Like, what are the metrics? I know that they're number one in SP Plus. Just your overall thoughts so far on the Buckeyes.
Ohio State's annoying the crap out of me this year because I'm pretty sure they are comfortably the best team in the country. And they have no reason to show it yet, so they're really not. They're just taking their time on offense. Jeremiah Smith's out here averaging like 9 yards a catch against power conference opponents. They're doing just exactly what they need to do. They're winning every game comfortably. It's very annoying. I like it when my elite teams are out winning games 63-0 and telling you every single week, like, we're amazing. And Ohio State's, they understand that this is a very long game now in college football, and they're taking their time. So, like Indiana's incredible. I still think Oregon's really good. Whoever comes out of the close game pile of SEC teams at the end of the year is going to be very talented and very good. But I don't see any reason right now to think that Ohio State is anything but the best team in the country.
Where do your analytics say that the Buckeyes are elite, and where do the analytics say they might be vulnerable?
Yeah, I mean, right now, like the defense, excuse me, is the defense. It was number one last year. It's number one this year, probably better this year. And finally suffered at least a couple of little breakdowns in the middle of the Illinois game, but nothing major, obviously. So that's obviously, I mean, you can break a lot of things into basically, the success rate measure that I lean on a lot is my efficiency measure, my on base percentage. It's basically how frequently are you gaining 50% of yards on first down, 70% on second, 100% on third or fourth. Ohio State is 24th defensively in success rate, but number one by far in yards allowed per successful play. So are you giving up 5 yards on first down, or are you giving up 12? Ohio State's giving up 5. They're giving up the bare minimum at all times. And, it's just basically a blue chip bend don't break defense at the morning that doesn't really bend that much either. The offense is where the questions still lie, just because, like I said, they're not taking any risks whatsoever. And so using that same kind of efficiency and explosiveness thing. They're 4th in success rate, but they're 106th in yards per successful play. The run game's not nearly as terrifying as it. I mean, it's efficient enough, but it's not terrifying like it has been in previous years. And that's where my biggest question mark is. We have, Julian Sayin's out here completing 6-yard pass after 6-yard pass. We don't know that the run game can take the next step until it does. We don't know that the passing game can start, racking up more yards at a time until it does. But like I said, when you have a track record, you can kind of assume those things will come along when they need to.
Yeah, and you've written about this. Like, it's hard to really evaluate Julian Sayin right now because he's not being asked to do too much. And like, I watch him, I'm like, okay, well, this is a quick, he processes things quickly, quick release, accuracy, poise. But the metrics are the metrics. Until he has to do more, it's really hard to evaluate him, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, air yards per target, they're 106th right now. So, I mean, he's throwing some of the shortest passes in the country to amazing receivers who catch it and make a move and make some yards here and there. But yeah, it's been on easy mode, and that defense is allowing them to just basically take their time. I mean, Washington was 1st in the country in points per possession when Ohio State went out there and allowed 6 points. So they've just been able to ease into these games. And if somebody can actually land a couple punches early, I think it'd be helpful to both us and Ohio State to learn what they have. But we're halfway through the year and nobody's really been able to do that yet.
I want to get into your background. I believe you're a Missouri Tiger. Get into your background. What made you so passionate about college football and especially your unique angle on it?
Yeah, I think, number one, I was born in Columbia, but I grew up in Oklahoma. So Oklahoma's college football country. Spent most of my, all of my school years there, and then came back up to Columbia in 97 for college. And so I've somehow been here ever since, still in my college town. But I think basically, I was always good at numbers, but I always loved writing. I was, writing 8,000 word Ball State previews on tigerboard.com in 2002 or whatever. And, I really, really enjoyed that angle of it. And in 2007, when I started up my own Mizzou blog, basically, I realized over the summer I needed content. And so I started fiddling around. Like, I love baseball. I love baseball stats, hate baseball. But I always enjoyed the analytics side of thing in that regard. So I'm like, well, what exists for football? Nothing really. And so I just started fiddling. The Football Outsiders existed. They had a success rate measure. I entered a bunch of play-by-play into spreadsheets and started figuring out my own way of deriving success rate and kind of a really super early model of equivalent points, based on down distance and yard line, all that stuff. And yeah, like SPE stands for what I came up with when I was going for an OPS type formula in 2007. The S is success rate, and the P is basically like a points per play kind of thing. There used to be an ampersand in there, but we got cease and desisted a few years later. So I had now it's SP plus instead of SNP. But that was always, I was always really good at numbers, and I always liked having them to lean on in my writing to know that I knew what I was talking about. And the two have kind of, helped each other out, I think, through the years.
So Wall Street didn't like using the S and P, so you had to go to SP plus. I get it. I get it. And when I was doing, I missed it said 2007. I was doing a little research. I did notice. I'm like, wait, did I have this wrong? Because it's saying the story I was looking at back in the day when you were, I believe, Bleacher Report. It was S and P, or maybe SB Nation.
SB Nation, yeah.
SB Nation. Yeah, it said S and P plus. I'm like, wait, do I have this wrong? And then I saw it's SP plus now. All right, guys, the book is Forward Progress, The Definitive Future of College Football. Buy the book, get on Amazon. He is Bill Connelly. Read his stuff on ESPN. It's fantastic. He is awesome at what he does. And I really appreciate you joining me, Bill. Thank you very much for your time, sir.
Thanks for having me.
My pleasure. Let me close it up here. Boom.